I've been thinking more about what kind of videos I want to bring to you guys and what I want to do. One of the things that I know I've done a video before about how to tell somebody your DID, but I wanted to demonstrate it to you in person. So, okay. There's a couple of people over here. I don't know them, but I'm just going to randomly go up to them and explain to them what DID is. Wish me luck. Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
So, my name is Dax, and well, usually I go by Dax. Anyway, and I'm a YouTuber. My channel is about my mental condition, and I was wondering if I could tell you guys about my mental condition.
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Okay. So, it's nice to meet you, Dax.
nice to meet you.
Okay, nice to meet you. So, I live with a mental condition called DID. Have either one of you guys heard of that before?
Yes, actually.
Where have you guys heard of this term before?
I've heard it on TikTok, school. I follow a couple of accounts about mental health. And I've seen some things I haven't actually listened and tried to learn about it. I've seen it been mentioned.
Okay.
I've had struggles with mental disorders as well, and although I don't have DID, in looking through different and researching, I've come across it. I'm not completely informed, but I know a little bit. So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to explain just some basics. So what it means fundamentally is that there's multiple people living inside one body, or as I like to say, one brain, but multiple minds. That's how I like to explain it. And each person is different. We sometimes have shared memories, but not all the time. We've had to work really hard on shared memories. We personally have roughly around 20 to 25 people in our system. And it varies in ages, in gender identity, in everything. So in belief systems, everything. Even down to what we inspire to do, or the hobbies that we have, or even the music that we like to listen to. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Do you guys have any questions that you guys would like to know about DID?
I'm thinking about it kind of like this. At what age did you remember feeling the onset of DID?
I never really knew anything was going on with me. I never understood it that way. Looking back, there were signs there all along. My sister actually remembers a time where I had the same teacher for 3rd grade and 4th grade. And that teacher was just an amazing teacher. And my sister told me about a time where she pulled my parents in for a parent-teacher conference for when I was in 4th grade and said, this is not the same child I was teaching a year ago. And so she was recognizing, even back then at that young age, I was switching. Also, when I was younger, they diagnosed me with a learning disability. But I've looked it up and it doesn't really truly exist. They called it a comprehension learning disorder. That's what it was called. Sorry, not cognitive. A comprehension learning disorder. Now, some of the therapists I've worked with since then really think that it was just the DID and that we couldn't recall, whatever the test was yesterday, because we were switching at that young of an age. So I didn't really realize there was anything weird or different about me. I thought everybody lost time or, had memory losses or basically blackouts for no reason, that was just normal. It wasn't until I was about maybe 15, 16, I think I was 16 years old, something like that, in high school, going through that delicate age we all go through, when a friend of mine, after staying the night with her, we pieced together what happened since then, but at the time, for a long time, I didn't know what happened that night. I do now. But some things transpired. To make a long story short, I got triggered. Somebody else came out, made a physical attack on her because they were scared and triggered and thought they were in a different situation where my life was being threatened where it wasn't. But needless to say, she said, "You're crazy and I cannot be friends with you anymore." And I'm like, "What did I do? Like, I don't understand what I did." She goes, "You know perfectly well what you did." No, I do not know. You know, she was mad. She did not want to be friends anymore. And that really hurt. Like, that really, and that was the first time where I had to take a really hard look. And then some other situations happened where I ended up being in therapy, whether I wanted to be or not. I was there. So I had to be in therapy. And then it was the doctors, I think around age 17, well, back then it was called MPD, multiple personality disorder, back in the early 90s. Because I haven't been a teenager for 30
I was wondering
years.
when they changed the name, because I've heard that name dance around a little bit.
In the 90s, when it went from the DSM-4 to the DSM-5, it went from being MPD to DID. So the very first diagnosis I ever had was MPD. Anyway, so that doctor at 17, when I was like 17, almost 18, he couldn't technically diagnose me with MPD, but he did say, "You're showing symptoms and signs of MPD, and I would like you to take therapy seriously and follow up with it for a little while," which I didn't back then. I should have, but I didn't. But I think in those years, like my late teen years, is when I started becoming aware that what was happening wasn't normal and maybe downright not okay in some sense. Like, I needed to figure out what was going on and get a handle on it. Sorry, that was so long.
No, that's okay. I honestly, I've never met someone with DID. And it's always been not, I don't want to say a morbid curiosity, because I don't like to fantasize about things. Like, DID, I know it's a real issue for people. It's really good to meet somebody, with it, because I've always wondered, what people have to go through with that. And I know that I hope that you've come to love yourself and accept yourself and really grow from it. So.
Thank you. I feel I have come a long ways in my journey. Like, if you would have told me 20 years ago I would be doing this, I'd be like, "Haha, you're crazy."
Yeah.
There's no way. About 20 years ago, I felt very, limited, confined, living with this disorder. So I felt like nobody can know, that lightning was going to strike me down. If anybody found out my secret, that I was different. Like, even after I knew, in my young 20s, there was at some point in my young 20s, I started taking therapy more seriously and started seeing a therapist and really trying to get to the bottom of why I'm feeling the way things that I'm feeling, what's going on, and just stuff. And it was much more complicated than just the idea. It was just a difficult time periods that people go through at that age, and some family issues that was going on too at the time. Just whose life is simple. It's that wasn't the only thing, and that was just one of the things.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I think at that age is when I started really saying, okay, I need to take therapy seriously, and I really need to buckle down and figure this out. I knew what I was doing wasn't okay or normal around between 16 and 18, but I rebutted against therapy so bad and so hard for so long that it's nope, I'm not crazy. That's not me. That's not what's going on. They're all wrong. They're lying. They just want money. They just want my money out of me. They don't, what do they know? They got their license out of Cracker Jack box or whatever. I had a lot of built up fears, a lot of stereotyped information, and I was also very impressionable. And I think it was certain crowds, because I ran with the punk crowd back then. I had a mohawk and crazy colored hair, which actually I kind of missed that kind of look now.
Do it.
Do it,
Yeah.
girl.
I actually have purple hair dye sitting in my bathroom. I
Oh.
want to do
It's
my
a
hair
sign.
purple so
If
bad.
you do it, I will too, girl.
Yeah,
So
you'll
I'm
do it.
saying,
You're gonna do your. I'm gonna take your number. We're gonna do our
Okay.
hair purple.
Absolutely.
We're
Okay.
gonna do it. We'll
Okay.
do it purple together. You
I'm already
serious?
purple, so you're
You're like, I'm already purple.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm seriously down.
So what about you? Do you have any questions for DID or?
How's your, like, how is your, like, your main support system about it? Like your, like, parents or, like, family members or, like, friends?
I've never told my dad. He is still alive and well, and I don't know if he's aware of my YouTube channel or not. If he is, he's never said anything, but I've never brought it up.
Yeah.
My dad is a very conservative type.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And oh no, it's okay. It's okay. It's actually the father I had brought my sister and I both a lot of privileges and a lot of positivity in our life that we wouldn't have had otherwise, or that a lot of people don't have. Let's put it that way. My dad's hard work gave my sister and I certain privileges, like, and I'll just say it, like, we were born in middle class, you know, and it was my dad's hard work and everything that put us in that position. I do not live in middle class now. But that's where what I was born into, and he was also very conservative. So I've never told my dad. I tried to tell my mom once. Don't think she really understood it. Like, she didn't really get it. And she still, I might have brought it up to her twice. I don't know, once or twice. But she didn't, and I didn't really push it. I was like, okay, I'll try to explain it to you. And a therapist once taught me a long time ago that you can only do so much to explain it. What you cannot do is you cannot go into that other person's head and make them accept it, or make those gears click for them to get it.
Yeah.
And she really got me to understand there are just going to be people out there that get it, or that want to get it and want to be supportive. And then there are people that are going to judge you for it, not get it, and not want to get it, and they don't have to. And stuff. And so she really got me to understand what is more important, that they understand it or that they can accept it. You know, what is more. And it's nice if they, and nobody can really I live with it and I don't completely understand it. So how can I expect somebody else to understand it? But I think when people can accept it and just be open to it, open to listening to it, open to hearing about it, open to watch a video about it, you know, just like one video that might be 15 minutes long, you know, in your entire span of life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's anybody who's open to it, I applaud them, and I applaud you guys.
Thank you for asking us. It's so good to learn about it.
Do you guys have any other further questions that you would like to know, or?
I just have one more question. Do you think since the beginning of like your diagnosis, there's a lot of stigma with mental illnesses and disorders and stuff. Do you think, in your personal opinion, that stigma around the idea has gotten better, worse? If you know anything about that.
I think that I'm from Generation X, and our generation did a lot of forward movement that I'm very proud of. Do I feel the stigma has gotten better with the DID? I think in the generation that we live in now, that my generation has made all this forward movement, that a lot of other forward movement. In Gen Z, I love Gen Z so much. I do. I feel like all of the people that are being brought in with Gen Z are like some of the sweetest people in the world I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. You know, I might be a little bit biased because I have children that are Gen Z. Like, you know, this is my beautiful daughter over here. So, and my beautiful husband, this is her boyfriend. And they're both beautiful from Gen Z. I don't know. So like I said, maybe I'm biased because I have kids. But I think Gen Z is also really, I think they're just as passionate about making a difference and making waves as the Gen X generation was. I see a lot of Gen X and Gen Z, but Gen Z is so sweet. They're like, yeah, change, but compassionately.
I may be biased as well, but
Sorry, I'm not sick. I'm just getting dry mouth from all the talking.
Like we back when the election was happening, we had some protests trying to like convince people to vote the right way, not the right way, but you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like
about
that
the
helps
choices.
Yeah, I mean, like we have like things happen, like we had doctors so around us, and like your girlfriend on us and stuff. Other than that, it was pretty cool.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gen Z reminds me a lot of Gen X in so many ways, except for I feel Gen Z is just, we're just like much more considerate and compassionate. Like, we tried, but you have to understand that some of the stuff that we were up against, it was either you punched your way through or nothing happened.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be sweet, but they wouldn't let us be sweet about it.
Yeah.
It was either like, no, don't care. No, you're a piece of crap. No, don't care. Listen!
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, and even then, or even now, I mean, it's gotten better. It's gotten better. I keep derailing from your question. I'm going to have to like cut and piece a bunch of this together to kind of fully.
Yeah, I didn't mean to ask too many questions, but I wanted to give you some content, you know?
More content.
More content, you know?
No, and if you have more questions, I am open to more questions if you have more. So I think a lot of leeway has been made, but I think as much as I would like to think Gen X were kind of paving that way, I don't think they did. I think Gen Z, if anything, made it. There are certain also instruments that just our generation didn't have, like cell phones.
Yeah.
We didn't have cell phones. And with technology also comes software like TikTok and Instagram.
Learning.
As you said, you got like I think it was you that said that you learned more about DID from TikTok and
Yeah, that was
TikTok. Oh, that was you. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, that's
That
okay.
you learned more from TikTok and stuff. So that's the reason why I'm saying, and I feel like that's a lot of Gen Z.
Yeah.
You know, the little bit that I've looked at TikTok, I haven't looked at it a lot. The little bit that I have looked at it, it seems a lot more Gen Z than Gen X. Not that Gen X isn't represented, but a lot more Gen Z. It's like a Gen Z thing.
Yeah.
So Gen Z is all about TikTok. Yeah. Do you guys have other questions? So I really have your guys' generation to thank for helping to open that pathway and normalize it more.
It's great to hear that.
Yeah.
Sometimes my generation does some weird things, but I'm proud of the one. I wouldn't be in any other generation, so.
What I find really interesting is that Gen Z came up with an amazing amount of pronouns and sexual identity. Like, my generation, we had straight, bi, and gay. That was it. You had straight, bi, and gay. And Gen Z is like, oh, I'm pansexual, and I can't even think of all of them. Mm-hmm. So, but they came up with all of these things that are like 101 different ways to identify on a gender level as well as on an intimate level, you know. So, I mean, we had things like asexuality as well, don't get me wrong, but there was, you know, like mainly in being bi and especially being gay. And I lived in, well, you guys don't know this about me, but I'm from the West Coast. So, like, I'm from, like, Arizona, California, you know, those kind of areas.
Yeah.
Which they're a lot more liberal out there than it. Like, we have a gay Denny's. You can Google, I'm not kidding.
Our next trip.
You can Google Gay Denny's. And an address will come up for you in Phoenix, Arizona. And my friends and I used to party at that Denny's.
Oh, that's so good.
So there was like actually a couple of gay clubs. Well, if they're still open. I don't know if they're still open, but there used to be a couple of gay clubs all in that area, which is the reason why the Denny's got the name that it did, because there was like 2 or 3 lesbian clubs, 2 or 3 gay men clubs, and when all of the people got done with the clubs in that area, after the clubs closed at 1 or whatever, they would go to the only Denny's that was in that area that was locally like centralized around the gay clubs. So it ended up getting from Friday evening until Saturday early morning or Sunday early morning, especially at night. It's pretty much a gay crowd.
We love that. We love that.
So, yeah, gay Denny's.
Yeah.
So gay, queer, asexual, like it's your kings, queens. It's yeah, it was fun. It was so fun. I miss my Denny's. I want to go back to gay.
I have never eaten at Denny's. Never.
You've never had Denny's?
There's a Denny's here.
I should probably go eat it sometime.
Yeah, it's good.
There's a Denny's. Do you know where it's at?
Yeah. I'm checking, like, over there.
Well, it's between.
Oh,
That's
that
near it.
Denny's. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, girl.
Yeah.
That's near my sister.
Yes, Denny's.
I'll eat there sometime. I'll convert it to a gay Denny's for Tennessee.
Yes.
I have that business charm.
Yes. So, alrighty. Okay. Well, I want to be available for any other questions or anything that you guys have about DID or anything of the sort.
Not right now.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for
Do you have
your
other
time.
videos on your channel?
I do. You guys can look me up, Encrypted Angels.
You can definitely send it to me.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, I have 4%, girl. I gotta make this quick.
Oh, I have all night. However much time you need. You don't need to be in a rush for me.
Sorry. My fingers are like...
Oh, you take your time, sweetheart. You take your time.
You said
There's more to it. It's just tucked under this.
it's cute.
Well, that was our first video.
Yeah, I mean, I was guessing that.
Alright,
You
well.
want us to stand up?
Oh, it's up to you if you guys want to stay sitting down, standing up, whatever you guys want to do. But thank you guys very, very much for listening about DID. And I appreciate it. So, how do you guys feel about DID now? Not that I should have asked you guys like that, but anyway, how do you? Is it scary? Is it weird? Is it?
I don't think it's scary. I think it's like interesting. Like I haven't really heard. I've heard of it before, but like I haven't really been able to talk to a source one-on-one about it. So that was a really cool opportunity. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're so
But I feel
welcome.
a little bit more educated about it, and I feel like I have a better understanding of it now.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it was really nice meeting someone with it. I feel like I got the questions that I wanted answered, which I never really got to ask anybody or the internet. So it was just really good meeting someone, and I'd love to like watch the rest of your videos.
Yay.
See what I have to be educated on.
Yay! Well, I am so glad, and thank you both for participating. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
So, and I look forward to dyeing our hair purple together. So I'm gonna,
It might be a light purple, but it'll be a purple.
that is fine. And I don't care. That will be a lot of fun. Okay. So, all right. Thank you so much, guys. And then, so, it went really well. I hope I was able to capture everything and get everything that I wanted. There we go. This is a really weird position to be in. Okay, so I hope I got everything I wanted to capture, and there we have it. So, bye guys!